Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD StarCraft, and I'm here to bring you guys another StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm broadcast. So over here in the top left-hand corner, let's go ahead and get this night started. We're going to be looking at another game with the German Protoss player by the name of Zeth. And some of you guys might remember him from not just the cast I've been doing, but obviously from his Warcraft 3 adventures. I think he was under the name Tassadar when he played Warcraft 3. Pretty accomplished at that. So we'll see how he plays here against the Blue Zerg. Down in the bottom left-hand corner, and his name is Quilava. I think I captured this Pokemon one time when I was playing, God, was this in Silver and Gold? I don't even know, man. This is Pokemon's just been so old. I love Pokemon, by the way. There was like this little hack that I used to do. Fine, HD used to hack around a little bit. It's not really a hack. It was more of like a cheat. But I used to I was able to grab Mewtwo, which is totally normal. But then I was able to find a way to, every time you beat the Elite Four, you would come back and the first Pokemon in your stash would get like plus 10 to all of his stats. So I was able to like pump my Mewtwo up to like plus 200 plus 200 on like speed and attack and defense and all that good stuff. Then I'd bring it to school and just womp on everybody. That was so awesome. But yeah, man, Pokemon is the shiz business, and I cannot wait to see how Quilava does against our resident German players. So here it is. New Zerg beat kind of rocking out in the background right now as the drone makes its way over to the natural expansion. Quilava wants to evolve, and it looks like he will. Oh, look at that probe. It's going over there and pressing B right now, not letting it happen. And the pylon goes down. The evolution has been canceled. And what does Quilava evolve into? God, I used to be such a Pokemon buff. I think... Oh, man, I don't even know. I remember the original Pokemon a lot more than the newer ones, so... Fine. Go ahead and flame me guys in the comments down below. I know someone will answer it correctly, hopefully. So anyways, what is Zeth up to back inside his main base? This is the first time I've actually seen him play a Zerg versus Protoss instead of a Protoss versus Protoss, so it's kind of a little bit of a switch up for him. It does seem like he's going to go with a Forge Fast expand for now. And yeah, there goes the Nexus. And he has been able to successfully block off the natural of the enemy Zerg player. And Quilava... seems like he wants to play a pretty standard game, but he's got to get that natural down, and he's actually opted to not, quickly expand to a third location. A lot of Zergs are doing this now. It's like, hey, if you block my hatchery, I'll just wait for my 4 Zerglings to come out and take it out then. But now it looks like Quilava's changed his mind. He wants to get a hatchery down over here, but there's another probe to prevent the evolution. No, Quilava is not evolving. And so he can't get the hatchery down. That kind of sucks for him, but he will be able to finally clear up the pylon here. That's pretty delayed though. Finally gets the hatchery, and Zeth is out of there. So that probe definitely wants to be commended there. He did a great job, and definitely keeping the Zerg on one base for as long as possible. But now Quilava should be able to double expand, and there are the 2 hatcheries now coming down. The map, by the way, guys, is Akalon Waste. Pretty big map. This is one of my favorite maps, actually, in Heart of the Swarm. Good Xel'Naga tower placements. That's one of the nice things about this map. They're both on ledges that overlook the bottom of the ground, so they're relatively protected. And plus, this one has a bush right here as well. Actually, both of them have bushes. So I really like the Xel'Naga towers on this map. Unlike most maps where the towers are just kind of out in the open, these are pretty easy to hold on to. And then you've also got a lot of expansions, man. This map, typically, kind of like Daybreak, tends to force players into very, very long battles, and if that's going to be the case here, I'm all for it, man. A Zerg versus Protoss in Heart of the Swarm, would love to see it. In fact, one unit I haven't seen lately in HOTS, in all the games I've been casting, I haven't seen much of the Swarm host. It almost seems like it just completely fell out of favor. I don't know if it's me and the games I've been choosing or the games I've been watching or not, but it seems like a lot of players aren't making Swarm hosts anymore, and definitely, the Swarm Host, in my opinion, is a much better unit against Terran than it is against Protoss. I think against Protoss have a lot of ways to counter that. Tempest, for example, they're just such a good unit. They're very, very good at countering Swarm Hosts, obviously. And I feel like it doesn't really work that well against Protoss because they have a lot of splash damage and a lot of range. Colossus can roast up all the Locusts before they even pose a threat. So I definitely feel like Swarm Hosts are much better used against Terran, and probably won't be seeing much of that here from Quilava. But one thing I have been seeing a lot of is Hydras and Vipers. Speed Hydras are amazing, and when they're combined with Vipers as well, they can be a deadly force, a force to be reckoned with. And so we'll see if Quilava decides to go for that or not. You'll note that you know, like I've been saying in a lot of my casts, this expansion really isn't the third, it's more of the fourth, and that's why Quilava hasn't opted to go ahead and expand there yet. We do have a Twilight Council on the way right now from the Protoss player, so Zeth wants to go ahead and get a pretty quick Twilight Council down, and we'll see what this is for. No Overlord has really been able to scout out what is going on inside the Protoss base. Oh yeah, it has actually. It has seen the Twilight Council. So for now, you can kind of say, all right, you've got a Twilight Council down. Probably you're going to go charge on Archon, and he can appropriately get the defenses he needs. Usually you want to get roaches to combat something like that. A couple more gateways being made right now from Zeth. So far in what I've seen in the games that Zeth has played, he's played very passively. Not really trying out the new Heart of the Storm units. I think every time he's made a Stargate, he really has only made Phoenixes, and he hasn't really tried out the Tempest or the Oracle yet. So it'd be interesting here in this game for him to go ahead and try out some of the new StarCraft 2 units available, but we'll see. That Mothership Core has made its way on the field, of course. That is the one unit you are kind of required to make now. It's so good for the cost that is associated with it. And it does look like, for now, the Zerg player is going to have complete map control. Quilava is going to have Overlords in very good spots. Zerglings all over the place. Has double Zelnaga Tower control in the middle of the map as well. And that's pretty good for him. You know, right now, Zeth hasn't made any moves to take out these Overlords. He hasn't pushed out and tried to be aggressive at all. And from what I've seen so far, it kind of stays true to how he plays. He's a very passive player. So we'll see if he'll be able to take it into the late game here. There is a hallucinated Phoenix flying out right now. Gonna try to get a little bit of vision and see what is going on. But inside the main base, you can see that there's actually a Baneling nest. Wow, that's interesting. You don't really see Banelings all that often against Protoss, so we'll see how this works out. Quilava hasn't made any Banelings yet, but he's making an attack right now. And it looks like, oh, if he can get that sentry, that's great. And he does get it down. Zeth is in a lot of trouble. That Overlord that was pooping creep also helped the Zerg units underneath with that extra speed boost. And Zeth is definitely in trouble right now. He's trying to erect pylons to help narrow down this choke point. Very smart decision right there to help with the pylons, because if he had not made pylons right there, it's quite likely possible that these Stalkers and the Zealot would have died to the flood of Zerglings. And so those pylons right there were a last-minute decision, very intelligent, and he closes off the rocks, which seals off and clamps off any possibility of additional Zerglings running in. Good hold right there from Zeth when things were looking pretty dangerous right there. The red alert alarm was definitely blinging. Now it looks like Zerglings are going to try to punch through the front door. Same wall style every game by you. So it looks like these two players have a little bit of a history, as Quilava, I guess, always tries to go for the initial Zergling pressure. But why the Baneling nest? I'm very curious. He does have a Spire. Is he gonna go mute a Zergling? Now that's not a bad strategy against Protoss. That can definitely work. But the Baneling nest kind of has my head scratching. You know, I've seen Banelings work, obviously. You know, Baneling Roach and mute a Baneling Zergling bombs can work as well. But it's definitely more, typically from what I've seen, it's more of a base trade style with Zerg versus Protoss. It's not really a collision. Obviously, yes, there can be massive collisions, but the fact of the matter is mutas and Zerglings are very flimsy. They're very weak. So when you play this style, it's usually better to try to dart in, do a lot of damage. Sometimes if you can get into a base race situation, then almost always you're going to win against Protoss. So we'll see if that's what he's going to try to do here, but like I said before, it is a very flimsy composition, and Zeth should definitely look to get up to Templars right now. He is researching Storm on the Templar archives, and that's very smart, because Templars, Archons, and Storm absolutely demolish mutas and Zerglings, and right now the mutas are going to be able to fly in. They're looking to do a little bit of damage. It looks like they are going to harass this, this assimilator here, July Zerg style. He was stacking those mutas quite nicely on that assimilator, and was able to do a little bit of damage. But so far, workers killed. Those were the first two workers of the entire game that have gone down. So really not too much losses here. And in fact, if you look at the units lost tab, only 950 to 1,181. So really a passive game thus far. Not too much damage has been done, but you can see that at any moment, all hell can break loose here. Oh, whoa! Did those mutas miss the Templar and end up killing a probe instead? Or was that a sentry? I'm not sure. But they definitely should have killed off that Templar. That Templar, I think he's sweating a little bit right now, guys. I think his life just passed before his eyes. He's like, I didn't want to join the Psionic Matrix that early on in my life. So he is very lucky right there. And now these mutas are going to fly in. It looks like they can pick off the Forge. That's nice. anytime you can pick off upgrades, that's absolutely critical. But the Forge upgrade hasn't really been researching for all that long, so it's not a terrible loss here for Zeth. He can easily replace that and get the upgrades back up online. But he will miss out on that crucial armor. So he's only got +1, +2, +3 weapons actually on the way right now. But one thing here is Quilava finally has got a 4th hatchery down. I was getting a little worried right there. Is he going to get a 4th? Because that's a pretty long time with him not really expanding. When you go with this Muta-Zergling style, unless you're just trying to end the game straight up with Muta-Zergling Baneling, you need another hatchery, and really he hasn't really been paying that much attention to his macro. He's now double expanding, and typically when you play like this, you want to trade your army with a lot of harassive damage being done to the enemy probes, and then remax on a better hive tech army. But I actually question Quilava's ability right now to remax. He's trying to desperately now expand all over the place. I think he's kind of realizing, all right, I've got good map control, but if a battle happens right now, I'm not entirely sure if I can win. I'm not entirely sure if I can depend on my macro to get me back in this game. So that's why he's trying to expand like a madman right now. And meanwhile, Zeth, oh, he drops the storms down, so the mutas can't retreat. And looks like the storms just withering away at the very last second right there, and the mutas were able to stay alive, but all of them are down in the orange right now. So Quilava really cannot hope to fight. What is that? That's interesting. Okay, so the mutas really cannot fight right now. They are so weakened, and of course there are still more Templars back here ready to go with, well, it looks like they don't have Storm quite yet, but they should have Storm momentarily, just a few seconds away here. And at this moment in time, I really feel like Quilava, oh, look at that, he's making 5 Ultralisks. What a great decision here against the composition from Zeth. Zeth's actually in a lot of trouble, but what a storm! And the force field's funneling everything under the storm as well. Beautiful micro from Zeth. That was absolutely beautiful, and now it looks like he is going to be able to keep most of his Blink Stalkers alive. That's where the 1 armor comes in, helping to keep the Stalkers awake and not dying over to those Zerglings. Now, I really want to call attention to those force fields and the storm. He force fielded and stormed, and he placed them all in positions where it would funnel the Zerg units underneath the damage area effect of that Psionic Blast, and that was just an absolute masterful piece of micro. Now, the problem is he's going to be facing off against Ultras very soon, and against Ultras, typically Protoss, you can use Blink Stalkers, you can also use Immortals, but Charge Lots are actually the cheapest and most cost-effective way, I feel like, for Protoss to combat against Ultralisks. So I just saw a round of 8 or so Zealots being made right there, and there they are. Very good decisions right here so far from the Protoss player, and you know what, not only that, but Charge Lots are great against Zerglings and Banelings too. And I think Zeth right now is looking pretty good. He's at 190 supply to 174. Quilava, you know, he's evolved finally to the tier 3 evolution of whatever Quilava evolves to, but I don't know how good he's looking right now in this game overall, because mutas, yeah, he's got to trade these mutas away for something better. Either send them in and kill off as many probes as they can, send them on a suicide mission for them to never return, and try to remax on something better. Actually, against the army currently being fielded right now, Infestors would be amazing. A couple of Fungals would just lock this army down for all eternity. Remember, Stalkers cannot blink under fungal growth, Charge Lots cannot charge, nothing can move. And that's when the Ultras and Zerglings and Banelings can clamp down. We do have Burrow Charge on the way as well. Burrow Charge allows Ultras to come up anywhere nearby, and they actually do damage when they come up, as well as kind of mini-stunning everything around them. So it's a great ability for Quilava to get right now. But is it really going to be enough? Is it going to be the determining factor here in the next battle? We do have Hydralisk Den that just finished as well, so we might see some Hydras making their way on the field. Both players are amassing an insane bank. The Zerg at 3k 1k, the Protoss at 1.2k 300, so he's a little bit low on gas, but overall both armies, both banks very large right now. We can see that Zeth is looking to claim another expansion. Finally, he's going to get the 4th base. And Quilava, my god, he's got to get some drones saturating the gases here. You know, I'm not sure why he's not doing it, but it looks like he's focused right now on this battle. The Banelings trying to go in. Guardian Shield's coming up. That doesn't really help against Banelings, but the Stalkers are able to blink behind the Zealots, and the Zealots taking the brunt of the damage there. Zealots are sacrificable, and now it looks like the Stalkers coming around the backside. This is incredible. Where are these Stalkers going? The Ultras haven't really flexed their Burrow Charge yet. That's because it hasn't been upgraded. It's still about 15 seconds away from finishing. And now the Stalkers, oh my god, they're just going to keep away from the Ultralisk and allow the Zealots to go in there. Zealots against Ultralisk, but the Ultralisk have 4-2 upgrades. They're just cleaving the Zealots away. And that Mothership Core does end up going down. Now Burrow Charge has been researched. The final tier of Zerg evolution coming through, but I think Quilava blasted his load of Burrow Charge on only one Stalker. He should have kept most of it for the group of Stalkers that was clumped up, but that's alright. He's bringing in reinforcement Speedlings, and I believe these Speedlings are Cracklings. They are. They are going to be able to do so much damage and take out the Immortal almost instantly, but now a lot of Zealots coming out on the field, and so it looks like Quilava has to pull away. Absolutely incredible right now. Zeth making a brilliant hold, but there are, well, there is speed upgrade on the way for Hydralisk, so very soon we might have some Hydras coming out on the field, and if there are Hydras, Zeth needs to go into Colossus, or he could rely more on Storm, which is kind of the old school Brood War style way of combating that, but nevertheless, we don't see Hydras being made yet. We might see them soon. There are 3 being built right now. There are more Banelings, incredibly, here for Quilava. He's really going to try to stick with the Banelings, but last time that went down, the Storm just kind of owned him. This time there won't be that much Storm ready to go, and it looks like Quilava going to try to pick off the Templar. But he is unsuccessful in doing so. It looks like one Templar here actually has more than enough energy for a Storm. In fact, all these Templar are about to get enough energy, and so the Mutas have to go in and try to dive on the Templar. Looks like he's successful in doing just that, and now the Zealots and Archons are out of there. They don't have psionic support anymore, and that means they're quite ineffective against Banelings and Ultras. The Banelings are just detonating left and right. Will it actually be enough? That's the problem, because Zealots, they're actually, you know, they're not great against Banelings, but the problem is Banelings aren't very cost effective against Zealots, because it takes quite a few Banelings to kill off a Zealot, and the Baneling costs gas. A Zealot, it's a cheap man, it's a poor man's warrior, and I think Zeth right there came out better than the Zerg player. But you look at the supply tabs right now and look at how quickly Quilava has remaxed. He's at 200 supply right now, 1.6k and 600, 1.8k in fact. So that is why you want to expand so rapidly as Zerg, and it looks like he's finally starting to get a little bit more saturation on his exterior bases. He still needs to get more drones over here. I don't know what is taking him so long to do that, but now he's transitioned into Speed Hydra Ultralisk. New late game Zerg composition here. We'll see how effective that is against Zeth's Protoss Ball. There is no Templars here for Storm. He's got to fight here. There's no way that Quilava can back out. He's trying to choose his position wisely. He does get a great flank with Speed Hydralisks in the back, and this is going to be able to take out Zeth's army. Unbelievable game right now. Zeth is cornered in all sides, but it looks like he somehow, some way is able to kill off all the Hydras on the high ground. And I guess it's pretty important to mention right now that, you know what, charge lots are pretty good against Hydralisks. Hydras don't do extra damage against Zealots, and when the Zealots charge in, it pretty much defeats the Hydralisk's main benefit, which is their range. So that was actually, I thought that was going to go great for the Zerg player, but it ended up not working out too well for him, and somehow, some way, Zeth was able to pull out ahead right there. Incredible game right now. Look at the upgrades tab. For the Zerg player, he's got almost every upgrade imaginable. He doesn't have the Infestor upgrades right now, but, you know, you get the drift here that he is definitely on maxed out tier 3. Trying to really make it work with the Ultra Zergling Baneling, but that last battle, I think Zeth kind of shook the confidence a little bit right there of the Zerg player. I think he was able to actually boost his own morale, because up to that point, it had not been looking good. It was not looking good for Zeth. He was down about 80 supply or so, but that last battle just went so well that I think Zeth has some newfound confidence now, and we'll see if he'll be able to transition and take a victory here. He is adding on 2 Stargates. So usually when you see the Protoss add on 1 Stargate, most likely means they're going for the Mothership, but for 2 Stargates, he might actually try to make some air units here. We'll have to see. Now this Nexus is in a lot of trouble. If Quilava wants to do it, he could take it down, and it looks like he is gonna go. The Storm gets dropped down on the Hydralisks. It's time for Quilava to call back the Hydras into the Pokeball, because that was absolutely devastating. And that is why Storm absolutely crushes Hydralisks. Always has and always will. If you guys recall some of the epic Brood War matches. StarCraft Brood War, the original, you know, Hydralisks were the staple in Zerg vs. Protoss, and guess how you countered Hydras? That was with Storm, and that was a brilliant display right there of the classic strategy, Storm versus Hydras. Zeth makes a hold, and he is going to get another base. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bases now for the Protoss player. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bases for the Zerg, if he can get this one up. So about 5+1. There are Vipers being made right now from Quilava, and so I don't know why you'd make Vipers. You know, at least half this Protoss army is melee already. You know, the Archons are melee, the Zealots are melee. The only thing you shut down with Binding Cloud is the Stalkers, and the Stalkers can blink away from that. Now, is he going to try to abduct? I don't know. This is interesting. Vipers now being introduced, ladies and gentlemen, into Quilava's army. Now, those two Vipers, oh my god, are not going to be able to make it out of there. The hatchery will fall suit as well. And Zeth takes out another base. Quilava starting to lose a little bit of momentum in this game, but he's still got a very big army. Going to try to now consummate the buildings that he can find on the map wherever he can and try to get a little bit of energy now so he can use the Viper's abilities. I'm very curious to know if he's going to use Binding Cloud or if he's going to use Abduct. It's going to be one or the other here. One thing to note is Zeth is now starting to make Tempests out of the Stargates. He hasn't added on a Fleet Beacon yet, so it looks like he wants to incorporate finally a Heart of the Storm unit here in one of the games that I've actually casted of him. So we'll see the Tempest making its way on the field for Zeth, but he's gonna have to fight through this battle first. Lot of charging Zealots here. Banelings going in. They're not that effective. Now what are the Vipers going to do? They're just sitting around doing nothing. Oh my god, and Templars feed back the Vipers. They never even got a spell off, and that was a poor display of micro right there from Quilava. A little unfortunate, because if he had went into that battle a little bit more prepared, I think he got caught a little bit off guard. But if he had went in there prepared, I fully believe that he would have been able to make a better fight out of that. Definitely feel like maybe not Binding Cloud, but rather abduct the Archons, get those out of there, and take them out with your army. Abduct the Immortals, and then take out the rest of the Stalkers. Unfortunately, it didn't go that way, and that was another epic game here. In StarCraft 2 Heart of the Storm. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, check me out. I'm at YouTube, at Facebook, and at Twitter at HD StarCraft. Do feel free to subscribe or follow. That would be awesome. And I'll see you guys in the next cast. This is HD, and I am signing out.